The ocean is the world's largest cemetery, and its graves are not always at the bottom. Sometimes they float, adrift, waiting to be found, like a corpse that refuses to sink. This is the story of one of those floating tombs, a ship that departed full of life and purpose and was found as an empty shell, an enigma that defies all logic. The mystery of the MV Joyita is not about what the ocean took, but about what it left behind. October 1955. The MV Joyita, a luxurious yacht converted into a merchant vessel, departs from Apia, Samoa, bound for the Tokelau Islands. On board, 25 souls, an experienced captain, Derek Dusty Miller, passengers, doctors, crew, valuable cargo of medicine and supplies, a routine journey of about 2 days in known waters. The sea was calm, the weather perfect. The Joyita never reached its destination. A massive search operation was launched. Nothing. No sign, no wreckage, no distress call. The 70-ton vessel, considered unsinkable due to its watertight compartment design, had vanished. 5 weeks passed, until a merchant ship, over 1,000 kilometers off its original course, spotted something, a smudge on the horizon. It was the Joyita, listing, partially submerged but stubbornly floating. A mix of relief and horror swept over the rescuers. As they approached, the silence was absolute. There was no one. The ghost ship was adrift, surrendered to the currents. What the rescue team found on board froze the blood of even the most seasoned sailors. The ship was in a terrifying state of suspension. The cargo, including barrels of gasoline and the precious medicines, was still there, intact. The lifeboats were gone, all of them. But that wasn't the most disturbing clue. The Joyita's radio system was perfectly operational. More than that, it had been manually tuned to the international distress frequency, 2182 kilohertz. Someone tried to call for help and failed, or was prevented. The investigation that followed only deepened the mystery. There were signs that something terrible and quick had happened. 3 large porthole windows on the deck were smashed. A chronometer was stopped at 10:25. There were bloodstains on the deck and on one of the walls of the wheelhouse, blood that, upon analysis, belonged to at least 4 different people, but no bodies. The ship's bilge pumps were switched on, but clogged with rags, which meant someone had desperately tried to keep the Joyita from sinking even after everyone had disappeared. The theories emerged like sharks around a shipwreck. Mutiny? Possible, but why would mutineers abandon a ship that was clearly still floating, taking everyone, even the wounded? Pirate attack? Unlikely in such a remote route, and the valuable cargo was there. Explosion or fire? No sign of fire damage. The weak official theory suggested that Captain Miller, perhaps injured, lost control, and the crew, in panic, abandoned ship in a disorganized manner in the lifeboats, only to perish at sea later. But would experienced sailors abandon a solid hull for fragile lifeboats in the middle of the Pacific? Then, the darker theories surfaced, whispered in ports. Some spoke of a giant squid attack, of kraken legends that could have snatched people from the deck. Others spoke of a mass panic phenomenon, an inexplicable collective hysteria, or something coming from outside the ship, an encounter with the unknown. The true horror of the Joyita lies in its complete lack of resolution. It is a puzzle with half the pieces lost in the ocean. The radio tuned to the distress channel is the most agonizing detail. Imagine the scene. Someone, perhaps the radio operator, injured, runs to the room, desperately tunes the frequency, picks up the microphone, and then, what happened? What or who silenced him before a single word was transmitted? The MV Joyita still exists. It was towed, sold, and continues to sink and reappear in different ports like an insistent ghost. Its rusted hull is a monument to the greatest mystery of the sea. It reminds us that even in the age of technology, the ocean guards its secrets with absolute coldness, and that sometimes the most terrifying stories are not the ones with a monster at the end, but the ones that end with a giant question mark floating in an infinite sea of silence.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If this story kept you engaged in any way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can, leave a like. It helps the channel grow and motivates me to bring more stories for you. Let me know in the comments what you thought and what you'd like to hear next. See you in the next one.